Hey everyone, it's the interview queen Alicia Atout here, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to my interview with Alan Angels. Hello, how are you?
What's going on? How you doing? I'm great.
I'm doing really well. I have to say, I'm super hyped to have you on. I feel like my eye's been on you and having you on the show for quite some time, so we're finally here.
I know. You had my girlfriend on before you had me on. I was a little offended. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sorry. Well, we're here now, right? That's what matters.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, we're definitely going to get into the wrestling in a second. But before we do, what would you say is your other biggest passion outside of wrestling? Because I feel like now we're seeing a lot more little peeks behind the curtain when it comes to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird because I literally have only always wanted to be a wrestler. So it's like this was like all I ever wanted to do. So I've been just obsessed with wrestling my whole life. But like the more I like became a wrestler and like the longer I've been doing it, the more I realized like I kind of do need like some other things to like get into
Right.
besides just wrestling. Um, I'm like big into like I kind of go all over the place. I get obsessed with things for like 2 months at a time. Like
We all do that. We all go through crazy phases where we're super into one thing and then you just completely forget about it the next.
right, exactly. Like right now I'm like kind of into like horror movies and stuff. So
Okay.
so and like I that's like a yearly thing. I get obsessed with horror movies for like a month at a time, and then it just like happens over and over again. You know, just like horror movies. I like going to the gym, just stuff like that, like basic dude stuff.
What was the best recent horror movie that you watched?
A lot of people kind of talked shit about it, but I just recently rewatched the new Texas Chainsaw movie that was like on Netflix, and I
Okay.
loved it.
I thought it was so good and I didn't
Yeah.
understand why people were shitting all over. I was like, this is a good film.
I don't know. People don't like when people remake stuff. I just kind of come to expect people to not like any kind of remake. But to me,
Right.
like, so the original Texas Chainsaw movie is probably like my favorite, just because of like it was like one of the first ones I remember watching.
Okay.
So like sentimentally, it's my favorite. But like just watching, like obviously, like the newer movies are gonna be better. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things. It's so good, and it's just like I loved it.
I just love how they decided, okay, if we're gonna do gore, we're gonna crank this to 11 and just
Oh
really
yeah,
do it.
yeah. I watched it in my hotel room. The first time I
Oh,
watched it, I watched it in a hotel room, and I was like, this. I don't know if people think this is kind of weird. Like I'm sure people can hear this down the hallway. Yeah.
just screams and cry for help coming out of your room.
Yeah, and it was like one of those hotel rooms where there's a door, so like the people on the room next to you can definitely hear it. So
Right. Well, they were in for a treat. That they,
yeah, no,
you did them a favor.
yeah,
Well, I mentioned how we definitely have to get into the wrestling. And for you, it's been an absolutely crazy couple of weeks since the departure from AEW. You've already made your way to wrestle for Impact, New Japan, Pro Wrestling Strong. And then, of course, not to mention some great indie promotions you'll be debuting at. So, how's it feel to actually have that type of freedom again? Because I know how much you loved your time in AEW, but now it's cheesy, but one door closes, a million others open.
yeah, no, definitely. And I feel like that's one thing I feel like I haven't really touched on as much as I would like to, is how much I really did enjoy my time in AEW. Like I loved it there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if it wasn't for AEW, like I have no idea what I'd be doing, because I got laid off right when the pandemic started, and then they brought me in. So like I don't know what I would be doing right now. So I'm so grateful for them. But yeah, to close that door and like open this new door of I have so many different options. There's so many different things I can do. I can kind of just, do whatever I want. That's so cool. Like the match at Impact kind of just happened randomly. It was so
Okay.
like so I was literally on a flight to California to visit my girlfriend, and I was on a layover in Denver, and I got hit up and they were like, "Hey, do you want to come have a badass match with Mike Bailey in Atlanta?" And I was like, yeah, I'll be there for sure. So I went to California, stayed there for the night, and then flew back. So and
Oh,
then and
wow.
then
It
we
was
had the
that
match.
quick.
Yeah, oh yeah. It was like I
Wow.
was flying out Thursday and the match was Saturday. So yeah, it was it
That's
was a little
awesome.
nerve wracking. I was like, man, if I don't catch this flight, like I'm not gonna be able to do this. And it's funny because it was literally like 30 minutes down the street from where I live in Atlanta. So yeah. And so yeah, but
Of
I'm
course it
so
was.
excited to like do yeah. And that's the stuff that like the indies and just like, you know, knowing what you're gonna be doing next, like that's the shit that happens. Stuff like that happens all the time. Yeah, just from like even when I was like before AEW, just mostly wrestling in the southeast, like stuff like that happens all the time. And it's nerve-wracking, but it's also like exciting, you know what I mean?
For sure. Well,
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to bring up is simply when it comes to your move sets in and out of the ring, one of my favorite things to see you do are just the crazy stage dives. You're wild. So what runs through your mind before making such a crazy leap?
I don't know. I always see the stage. If there's a stage in the building, I'm like, oh, I gotta jump off that. I don't know. It was literally just like a thing that I started doing, and I was like, well, if I keep doing it, maybe it'll be kind of like one of the things I just do now. I mean, I went to a lot of concerts as a kid. I like always went to Warped Tour and stuff like
The
that.
inner rocker in you.
Yeah, of course. That was like literally the first thing that went through my. And it's funny because when I was at those concerts, it was me imagining that I was jumping off the top rope onto somebody. Now it's the opposite, you
Crazy.
know? Yeah.
Have you always had that natural ability to kind of take that chance mentally, that dive and stick it each time? Or did that actually take quite some practice?
No, I get like super scared. I wouldn't say it takes practice. It's just kind of like a fuck it mentality. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I definitely, I'm like one of the more scared wrestlers that I know. I think like,
Really?
oh yeah, definitely. Like I overthink every little thing. And I think it's because early in my career, I hurt my knees multiple times. Like I dislocated them. And so like now it's like every
Yeah.
little thing. And it wasn't even like anything crazy that I was doing. It was just like normal movements and like my knee just like popped out. So like now I think I like overthink every like little step, you know what I mean?
I don't blame you at all, though, because a lot of people just watch it, think, oh, that was so cool. But I would be petrified. And
Yeah,
especially what you and your girl have gone through recently. Like, I just can't
right.
imagine when it comes to injuries, what does run through your mind. But man, does it look cool every single time.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, like
Of
Sammy,
course.
he's insane. He's just fearless. He'll do whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't know about that one, but he's a crazy man, you know.
I mean, for me, I'm really big on details, and I couldn't help but notice not only the nautical tattoos, but also the designs on your gear. So I wanted to know what's the symbolism behind those? Why work those in?
So most of my tattoos are all from lyrics, but the one on my chest is "Smooth Seas Don't Make Good Sailors" from a song by Neck Deep.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a saying. Obviously, they stole it from somewhere, but that's where I got it from. So yeah, and then I kind of like to. Originally, it was gonna have the quote on it, and it was just gonna be the pirate ship. But the tattoo artist, he was like, you know, I think it would be really cool if you put like a kraken on this side. And I was like, I don't know about that, but I do like it. I'm glad I did it because now it's kind of like part of my thing, you know?
For sure. No,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought them up. I was actually with them about a month ago for this little UK trip I did interviewing. And
Oh,
as soon as you
really?
said that line, I never noticed the actual script on the tattoo. But as soon as you said that lyric, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, it's neck deep.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so
Very
cool.
cool.
I love them. They're great.
They're so good. Live, they're such a fun band. It's like everyone, there's
Yeah.
such unity. But then again, I feel like that's always in emo music, that unity at gigs, which I really wanted to get into you with because when I
Mhm.
had Brooke on the show, we could have spoken about music for hours. So
Mhm.
for you, being, of course, a part of the emo duo, we have to talk about music. I know it's difficult, but who are some of those top bands right now for you?
So like my favorite, it's kind of turned into my favorite band of all time, is Dance Gavin Dance. I just like, I can't like, that's the one band that I've like always consistently like listened to. So, and they just came out with like 3 new songs. So I've been listening to that nonstop. Um, when I got into wrestling, I kind of strayed away from like the scene, as you say. But when I was younger, I went to like all the Warp Tours and stuff. I was like big into pop punk, you know.
Yeah,
Like I love Belmont and the story so far, Neck Deep.
nice.
I was also into like some of the metalcore stuff like that, volumes and reflections, if you know them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like super. I wish I was more into it. Brooks like she kind of puts me onto a lot of the newer stuff now. But yeah, I wish I was more like paid attention to it more, you know.
Is there anyone on the bucket list of bands you'd still love to see?
It sucks because like I bought Brooke like 3 concert tickets for Christmas and we couldn't go to any of them because of her knee. But like Falling in Reverse was on that list. We are going to see Dance Gavin Dance in August, so that's going to be super dope. Who is the what's the man? I can't think of the name of the band. I'm so upset. The Butchers band. What
Butchers? Oh, Butcher Babies?
No, the Butcher from AEW.
Oh, you mean every time I die? You mean
Every Time I Die? Yeah. Yes. Sorry, I feel so bad. I couldn't think. But dude, I was so upset when they broke up. I was like, what? I was literally going to their concert like 2 weeks later, and then they broke up. So I was pretty upset about that.
I feel like everybody was, honestly.
Yeah.
No,
they were together for so long, like 20 years. I was like, what? I was so upset.
And it was kind of all mysterious too, the way it unraveled. I feel like a lot of people are still wondering what happened. But luckily for us, there are a ton of fantastic bands, and their discography will forever live on.
Oh yeah. They got so much stuff out there.
Oh yeah. Well, Alan, I want to say thank you so much for coming on here, for shooting the breeze. We're really excited to see everything that's going on with you going forward. So thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Of course. To everyone watching, this has been Alan Angels. Be sure to check out aliciatout.com for plenty more exclusive interviews and features. And we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.